the #1 bass fly. Alright, now when I say #1 bass fly, I don't mean this is the greatest bass fly on the planet. What I am saying is it's my #1 bass fly. One thing I will double down on is I'm using the #1 colour combination, and you will not change my mind. In saying that, you're going to do really well with your naturals. Tans, olives, great colour combinations. Just a quick walkthrough of materials that you're going to need to tie this fly. So I've got some 40-pound mono, black and purple 4mm zonker, tungsten weighted cone heads, flashaboo. You can use a wide variety of hooks for this. For this one I'm using the TP610 by Arex. That's a size 2. Nothing fancy. With the tools, you're probably going to need a bulldog clip. Look, they do make better versions of this, but that works for me. And some dubbing wax. Right, that's about the whack of it. Let's get into it. Right, so just to kick things off here, okay, I'm going to get this cone head on. We'll get the hook in the vise. And we'll put down a nice thread base just to get things going. Okay, I'm going to advance this all the way down to the back of the hook here. Alright, then we're going to get our mono on. Okay, so again I'm using 40-pound, you can use 30. This is a soft mono. You can use hard mono. I guess what I'm saying is use mono of your own choice. So I've got that first side tied down. Now I'm just going to lightly tie that second side because I want to adjust the length of it. So what I'm trying to achieve here is I just want it to extend a little bit past the bend of the hook. So it's an anti-foul guard. It actually works really well. Especially the longer that you go with your rabbit strip, the more it's going to want to foul. Right, so we'll just cinch that down just to seal the deal there. Okay, so we'll grab our rabbit strip. Right, so little tip here, I actually cut these into a triangle. I'll try and show you as I'm doing it. So what this does is it gives you a lot more movement through your rabbit strip and also creates a bit of a natural taper to your fly, which looks a lot more realistic. Alright, so that's what we have there. So pick the length that you require your fly to be, and I part the rabbit fur with a bodkin. Okay, wet your fingers, help separate the fur from the leather. And I'll just tie that down. Now I'd just like to mention at this point here, it's not uncommon for people to put a body in. So you could use flash, you could use chenille, you could use dubbing, come back in with your dubbing brush, tease it out. But for this size and this length of the rabbit fur, it kind of hides the bottom side anyway. So I don't really bother. But feel free to muck around with it. That's what this is all about. So I'll just bring that up near the eye of the hook. A few wraps in front. Trim it off. Tie that down properly. Okay, so it's at this point here that I add a bit of flashaboo. You can use crystal flash, rubber legs is a really good look. Okay, so I'll double that over and I'll tie 2 down one side. And then I'll do the same on your side. Like so. Now I want to pull all those together, and I'm going to cut this a little longer than what the fly is. Then I'm going to come back in and I'm going to cut one of them to about half the length of the fly. Right, so we're going to throw in a dubbing loop. I'll just double that over. Go around the underside just to bring my thread together. Okay, we're going to use some dubbing wax. I'm actually using bow wax here. Works just as well. Never had an issue with it. Throw in our dubbing spinner. Right, so I've got my rabbit strip here, but it's preloaded. Okay, it can be a bit of a pain to get in, so I thought I'd just do that off camera. So you just want to cut the leather off. Actually, I'll come from this side here. Now don't throw that leather away. That actually makes really good mouse and rat fly tails. So I like to keep those. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to slide those into there, release them. Now at this point it's important to keep tension on your dubbing loop, and I just like to pull these fibres so they're towards the end, not straight down the middle. Keeping the tension on, I'll give the dubbing spinner a bit of a spin, and then I'll just move those forward. So I'll repeat that process about 3 times until I feel that it's done. Okay, then I'll come back in with my dubbing brush. You can use a bit of Velcro here. I've even seen the old bodkin get used here, but I just prefer a bit of the dubbing brush. Just releases all those trapped fibres. So as I'm winding this forward, it's real important to pull these fibres back so you're not trapping them with each wrap. Alright, we'll just keep winding it. All the way to the front. Okay, now I'm going to tie that off. Alright, so we've snapped our thread there. That is not an ideal situation at all, but it's not the end of the world. Alright, just going to come back in. Get rid of my tag, get rid of my old dubbing loop. Now I just want to build that up a little bit. going to seal the deal with a heap of half hitches. Right, job done. So at this point here, I like to come in with a little bit of super glue. I'll just drop a bit on my bodkin, and then I feed it in under that cone. You can do the same with UV resin as well, and then just come in with your light and dry it off, entirely up to you. Alright, so we'll just tease out those any fibres that we may have trapped. And there you have it, one leech fly. Banger. So there you have it. Quite a simple fly to tie. Sometimes it's the simple recipes that are the best. One thing I did forget to mention, you don't have to use a dubbing loop to do that collar. You can use cross-cut rabbit strip. Look, thanks for watching. If there's something that you want to see tied, please drop it in the comments and I will make it happen. See you on the next one.